Taisha Carrington and I'm an artist. Anything that classifies as art, I do it. From painting, drawing, sculpture, jewelry by major, even makeup artistry. As long as art's involved, I'm involved. I'm always looking for art opportunities, especially if I'm home in Barbados. And I was speaking to my friends about it and they were like, oh, there's this art competition, you should do it. I was hesitant at first because being that I do such a wide range of stuff and I knew it was specifically a painting competition, I had some reservation, but in the end I said, okay, I'll just do it, thanks to their pressure, knowing that they'd support me the whole way. So I just went ahead and I entered, and then I got the call that you're going to be one of the 10 participants, and I was like, okay, let's do it. For the first round, I'd say I went in pretty blind. Like, I had no idea the crowd would be of the magnitude it was. I wasn't here to experience the competition live the previous year. So I was like, oh, I'll just go and I'll get a feel for it. But when I got there, it was totally beyond anything I expected. Like, the crowd was huge. The people, there was points where I was on the floor and I could barely breathe from the legs around me. I did come into the competition with a focus on what I wanted to say as an artist, and I did start off with a piece to capture the masses, and that was a piece I did on glass because I wanted to use an interesting material, and the imagery as well. I wanted it to be something that wasn't abstract, knowing that I would move into abstract later in the competition. I wanted to go with that to capture everyone's attention, show them my technical ability, and get the buzz going about Taisha. So after the first round, I did feel pretty comfortable that I would move on, but still fingers crossed until I got the call. And then I got the call and it was just a big release. And then I was much better prepared for the Copacabana round because I was like, okay, I know the crowd, I know the energy, I know the competition now. And for that round, I'd say it was probably my most questionable or interesting piece, because I did go into the abstract and I know there were persons who would get it and those who wouldn't, and it was a risk I was willing to take. Hopefully it wasn't the risk that would end my time in the competition, but it went well. It turned out pretty good. So for Old Jammin', again, I knew I needed to up the ante and take more risk. Not only to keep the competition interesting, but to show, move more into myself as an artist. Because it kind of was a plan. Starting from day one, I wanted to join everybody, get their attention, and then be like, come along on this journey with me. Let me show you my type of art, more of what I really genuinely do. So by this stage, I started to bring in more 3D elements. And this particular drawing was very heavily layered, visually and physically. I knew it was going to be a huge time constraint. But in the end, I managed to pull it together. And as usual, I try to keep the crowd interested and keep the suspense going with, what's she doing? And with that particular one, it was a lot of fun because I was drawing members of the crowd without their knowledge. And then there was one lady that came over, she was like, oh my God, that's me. And I was like, yeah, it's you. So the whole idea was to get everyone involved in the piece, either by being interested in it or literally being a part of the picture itself. But that one was probably the round I was most worried about after, because I was like, I knew I really put myself out there. It was borderline painting / sculpture. So I was like, the judges could go either way with this one. I really got to sell myself on the concept so I can bring them into my world and show them what I really was trying to do with that one. But I really that's kind of one of my favorite pieces to date for the show. Coming down to the days leading up to the finals, it was tough because it was only that 1 week as opposed to 2 weeks for all the others. So I knew I needed to wait on the call and get a strong winning concept in like 5 days, basically. So that one had me running around like a headless chicken a little bit. So I got the call and it was just the biggest release, but also the biggest pressure at the same time, because it's like, oh yeah, finally made it to the finals, but like, okay, I don't want to make it to the finals and not win. So you had to find that winning idea. And again, keep it interesting for the crowd. And I think I did that pretty well. I found a piece that I knew I would be comfortable producing. I didn't want to repeat of Old Jammin' with the time. So I did something that, again, was more me. It had a lot of drawing involved, a lot of paint involved, and then at the end, you know, a more physical aspect as I cut the canvas off of its frame and stretched it on another frame, which I had built, all tying back into the concept of the piece and keeping the crowd interested the entire time. After that night, it really wasn't that long before I got the call, but it felt like forever. It probably was a day or two. And it was just the biggest, felt so accomplished to know that, you know, you worked so hard for about 2 months or so, and then it all came together in the end, it all paid off. And for the Absolute ARTWARS, it was more than just winning the competition, because the way they structured it, and it was stretched out in so many locations over such a long period of time, I really ended up getting so many supporters, so many people interested in my art, getting out there so much more as a Barbadian artist. And you know, the support was phenomenal. Everything really did come together in the end in the most encouraging way. And it really did show me that art truly is my passion. And it shows me that there are opportunities for young artists here in Barbados as well. My plans for the winning money is to save it for now. It's safe in the bank.